tonight's meeting of the Burlington City Council on today, June 2nd, 2016. I'd like to take a moment to ask everyone to please silence all electronic devices. I'd like to call on Mayor Pro Tem CeeLo Fawcett for tonight's invocation.
Bow heads, please. Dear Heavenly Father, we want to thank you for a beautiful day. We want to thank you for the launching of our new transportation system here, the Link system. We ask that you protect the citizens of this community, the staff, this council, to help us decide what is best for the community. We also ask your blessings, dear Lord, to stop the violence in our community. It has really gotten out of hand, and we ask your blessings to help these individuals understand that this community is not going to tolerate it. And we ask you in your name, amen.
Amen.
This time, council would like to recognize Christopher Tate. Welcome, Christopher.
Good evening, and thank you to the City Council and the entire city staff for allowing me to come back for my sixth time to offer this invitation to the council. If there's one thing I've learned over the last 6 times, I really do need to speak directly into the microphone, as the sign says. To those of you that recognize me from various places around the community or from past meetings, you'll know that early June is usually when I make my appearance to offer up my personal invitation to the Alamance Amateur Radio Club's annual Field Day operation, which is always the last weekend in June. This year, Amateur Radio Field Day will be June 25th and 26th as a Saturday and a Sunday. The event will run for 24 hours from 2 p.m. through the overnight to 2 p.m. on Sunday. And yes, you are more than welcome to come at 2 a.m. I may not be awake or competent to give a tour at that time, but you know what? I'll get you accommodated. What can I say? We've had people show up at 2 a.m. in the past. That was fun. The Field Day event this year will be taking place once again at the Alamance Emergency Operations Center. The staff of the Fire Marshal's Office have been so gracious to allow us to use their facility for operations in years past and invited us back this year, which we're very excited about because they have a very nice facility for our operation. That's 1950 Martin Street in Burlington. Amateur Radio Field Day, for those of you that may not be familiar with it, is an emergency preparedness exercise. The overarching goal of Field Day is for amateur radio stations around the nation, or really around the continent, to contact as many other participating stations as possible within the 24-hour contest period. We call it a contest even though it's an emergency preparedness exercise. We have to set up temporary and portable stations using limited resources and a limited time frame to simulate if a disaster should come into the area, which, of course, we always hope it doesn't, and then we get that one system. We send and receive messages very quickly. Some of these exchanges are no more than about 10 seconds. This simulates how we would exchange messages into and out of a disaster area in the event of a regular communications disruption. If the cellular network was overloaded or non-operative, if traditional phone service was down, if any other system was not performing at its fully operational status, amateur radio operators can set up basically ad hoc networks among each other to get messages relayed from point to point using minimal resources in a very quick time frame. These messages can include anything from the needs of relief shelters to damage assessment to health and welfare messages, among other types of reports to and from agencies such as FEMA or the state EOC in Raleigh. Amateur Radio Field Day also serves as an opportunity for radio operators to connect with the public, educate them on disaster preparedness, and introduce them to amateur radio. The National Hurricane Centers declared that hurricane season for the Atlantic coast began yesterday, and already we've had 2 named storms. So it's never a better time to learn what you can do in the event of a disaster. And the good old Southern thing, we get a little hospitality going. We usually share a meal, and we just hang out for 24 hours. It's a lot of fun. And, so it's certainly an enjoyable 24 hours. I encourage everybody to attend. The event is free. It is open to the public. And for those that want to learn more about amateur radio, you definitely should come because we will have a dedicated station set up for those that may not be licensed or have not had their license long enough to use the frequencies that we talk about. I promised myself I would do my best to keep the radio frequency puns to a minimum, lest I be banned from future city council meetings. And that's my humor for the evening. I've taken a liking to puns. I don't know why. Once again, Amateur Radio Field Day from June 25th to June 26th, and Saturday and Sunday from 2 p.m. until 2 p.m. at the Alamance EOC, the Fire Marshal's office on Martin Street. And we look forward to having everybody out there. The more the merrier. Seriously. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tate. Next, the council recognizes General Manager Ryan Kerr, the Burlington Royals.
Thank you, gentlemen, for having me today. Mayor, City Council, brought some goodies for you guys today. Brought some hats and even a World Series replica trophy. It's pretty awesome to be a member of the Kansas City Royals right now, going to back-to-back World Series, winning the trophy here in 2015. We're going to be actually bringing that trophy to Burlington here August 12th and 13th. To my knowledge, will be the first time that World Series trophy will be here in Burlington and probably in Alamance County. So pretty honored to have that here. We can't thank you enough for all the partnership. I also have a ball up there. Last year was our 30th anniversary, and when I sat here last year and spoke about just what was going to happen here for the 30th year, we couldn't have envisioned it to go as well as it actually did. And like I've said over and over, we're so blessed to have this partnership. To have an owner and a city to be connected for 30 straight years, really, you just aren't seeing that anymore. And so we're really honored to be a part of Burlington, to have this here. I know a couple months ago we were here and extending that lease and the partnership with the Royals for 5 more years through 2020, the longest extension to date. And so we're really excited. The renovations that have taken place over at the stadium over the last couple of years, we could not be more excited about to welcome guests into our ballpark. Tony Laws, City of Burlington, incredible. Brand new bleachers on both the first and third base side, elevated grandstand, handicap accessible. It's changed the landscape of the ballpark. I mentioned to Tony, we have the North Carolina High School Baseball Championships coming into town for the first time since 1997 this weekend. And I could not be more honored, to welcome people into our city, into our stadium. It's really proud to be able to walk into those doors and to show them what we got. So last year, highest attendance that we've had since 1997, highest as a Royals affiliate. We could not be more excited about the momentum, about what's going on over at the ballpark. That stadium has been used since Easter. Every weekend we've had something at the ballpark, whether it be an Easter egg hunt, whether it be the welcoming home of Al J, whether it be a beer fest. Even that was pretty awesome as well. So we've had a lot of different events at the ballpark, and we can tell you 3 weeks from today, June 23rd, we'll be ready to rock and roll. 35 nights that you'll want to be there. And we're going to put on a show every night. So we appreciate all you guys' support and could not be happier to be here in Burlington. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kerr. Next, we have some recognitions. Council recognizes Police Chief Smythe.
Mayor and Council, thank you for allowing us just a few moments to share some of our successes with you. I think that nationally, when you look at the kind of villainization of the police a bit, we are blessed to not have that going on here in Burlington. We have a wonderful relationship with our community. We look to build trust through transparency. That's one of the mottos of the police department. And so to be able to bring forth a few of these award winners and a Global Police Department Award just to share with you and highlight, not just for you. I know you all know this, but we've got viewers at home and other folks watching live streaming that really need to know just how incredible this police department is. So with that intro, I'm going to call up Dana Mitchell and talk about him for just a moment. Come on up, Dana. So the Burlington Police Club is a 501c3 kind of charitable arm of the Burlington Police Department. It's made up of former and current Burlington Police sworn-in civilian employees, and each year they recognize one sworn officer and one civilian employee as the Officer of the Year and the Civilian Employee of the Year. It is not an award driven by the executive staff in any way, shape, or form. These are peer-driven awards. And so Dana is honored, I think, to be the recipient of the Police Club Police Officer of the Year Award for this year. Dana, would you take just 1 minute and share with them your background and how you got where you're at as a Burlington police officer?
I've been with Burlington for just over 12 years now. Been on patrol most of that time. I spent a couple years as a SRO and a DARE officer, and then came back to patrol. Started being a field training officer just over a year ago, and that's really become where I've learned that I really enjoy this job is training the new officers. Really found a renewed passion for the job in doing that.
And so when my new boss wanted to go on a ride-along, I might have handpicked Dana Mitchell for him to ride with. And I believe Mr. Watkins was fairly impressed with Dana's knowledge of the community. He's very vested in East Burlington and knows a lot of people. And when we talk about community policing, we talk about an officer's ability to really impact the quality of life of the folks that we serve, and Dana does that every single day. And so I think it is for those reasons that his peers have recognized him as the Police Officer of the Year. So if you would help me give him a hand. The next award is the Police Club Award for the Civilian of the Year, and if you're paying attention to the agenda, you'll notice that that's not possible for us to make that presentation to Anna Curtis. She passed away in November. She served as a communications specialist for quite a number of years, or dispatcher, telecommunicator, and was our supervisor of that section when she passed from cancer. And she was a remarkable woman. Managed to maintain that center in remarkable fashion. If an employee called in sick, she got up from whatever she was doing and came to work and covered those shifts. Managed our grants and our budget and our interlocal agreements with folks, running the 911 system and all of those communication aspects. She ran that for years and years and years, nearly 20 years. And so I don't think it is an understatement to say that she was well skilled at what she did, and she's the recipient of the Civilian Employee of the Year. But not only that, the Police Club made the decision to name that award after her for all future years. So future recipients of that award will receive the Anna Curtis Civilian Employee of the Year award. So that's quite an honor for her. And so I just wanted to share that with you all posthumously for her benefit. Okay. The next award is for Master Police Officer Graham Sappington. Graham, will you come up? It's nice that his wife and daughter are here to join us this evening. So Graham is a full-time police officer for us and moonlights working for Alamance Community College. He is an instructor there. 3 years ago, he was an assistant in the program for the BLET, the Basic Law Enforcement Training Program. And he was responsible with a core group of other instructors for helping people get through the physical fitness test, the POPAT test. And the lead instructor was unable to continue in that role, and I think they were very happy to have Graham step into that role. He's been, for the last 2 years, the lead instructor for that POPAT curriculum, and he has had a 100% success rate. Every single candidate in that program under his tutelage has been able to pass the POPAT test. There's BLETs all across the state that have a notable washout rate on the physical side of the testing. There's a notable washout rate on the academic side as well. We haven't quite fixed that here in Alamance County yet, but on the physical side, we're able to fix that, and that's largely through Graham's expertise. So the community college has a very broad continuing education cadre of adjunct instructors, and so Graham was selected as the instructor of the year for that entire group, not just for the BLET class, which has dozens and dozens of instructors, but for the entire college program for workforce development. He is their instructor of the year. So Graham, would you take a moment and just highlight your career for these folks so that they can understand what you've done to get here?
Sure. I started in 2005 with the Burlington Police. I spent 2 years, a little over 2 years, on patrol. I was selected to go to the Special Operations Division and start the Community Crime Abatement Team. I spent 3 years there. I left and joined the Training Division. I've been there for 6 now, and through multiple certifications, we're trying to get the best possible training to Burlington's police officers so we continue to have a great department.
So I think a little bit later in the agenda, you'll approve a budget which will hopefully authorize some additional staff to that training section that Graham works in. And when I talk about the last award here, I'll talk a little bit more about our ability to train those officers. But it's very significant to us that Alamance Community College took this opportunity to recognize Graham Sappington. So if you'll help me give him a round of applause as being the Instructor of the Year. The next award for individuals is for Captain Brian Long. Brian, if you'll come up. So again, at an award ceremony just last week, Alamance Community College hosted their award ceremony for students, instructors, staff, and Brian was selected to be the inspirational alumnus for the college for this particular year. So Brian graduated from the criminal justice program at ACC in 2006. And we highlighted during that banquet ceremony his successes as having risen now to the rank of captain. He is one of 4 captains in the Burlington Police Department. He runs essentially 25% of our organization. He's served on the board of directors for the Crossroads Assault Rescue Service and a number of other factors. He's very active in our community. He's a proud father and husband and an extraordinary police officer. And Brian, if you'll take just a moment to share your background with the council.
Sure, thank you. I joined the police department in 1995, and at that time I did not have a degree. I had been working on one. Circumstances caused me to seek full-time employment, and then, quite honestly, over a long process of years of taking a class and then taking a break and taking a class, and with a ton of encouragement from my coworkers, I was able to finally complete that degree, and really that sets just the platform. ACC, I think y'all know, is a great partnership with the city as a whole, certainly with their department. The division that Officer Sappington works in is a division that I also work in, and we partner with them. So ACC is really providing a platform for people like me to have the opportunity to be successful, and I think we should always recognize that.
And I'll share with you one last thought that, while I hope to be your police chief for many, many years, this guy is on the succession plan, and he is going to be highly competitive in future years for a police chief job here. He is an extraordinary professional, and it's no doubt that the college chose to recognize him. So if you'll give me help in giving him a hand for being the Inspirational Alumnus Award. And then lastly, I would just like to highlight an award that the entire police department received from the Department of Justice, their Valor program, in conjunction with the National Law Enforcement Officer Memorial Fund. Those organizations combined a number of years ago to try to create incentives for police departments to create wellness, officer safety programs that are designed to, the program overall umbrella is called Destination Zero. So if you follow the statistics, you read the proclamation just last month, 134 officers, I believe, last year. It's 120, 130. It's been as high as 170 per year. It's never been below 100 since 1994. 1944 was the last year that it was below 100 officers killed in the line of duty in America. So our first goal is to get it below 100, and then the ultimate destination is 0 police officers killed in the line of duty. So this program exists to recognize and reward and share best practices around the nation with police departments that have extraordinary steps for officer wellness and officer safety. And so we are in an extraordinary position where we've got great support from council, great employees doing training like the folks that you just heard from today, 127 of them, soon to be 129 of them, all working together to be the safest, best police department in North Carolina. So we submitted for this award. We were the runner-up for this national award behind the New York City Police Department. So an agency with 40,000 employees. I don't even know how big their budget is, but I'm sure it's got several zeros on top of our 16 million. And we came in second. That's incredible to think that we came in second to the New York City Police Department. So We have dozens and dozens of programs all engineered towards psychological welfare, physical health, best practices training, performance, policies, accreditation. All of those things cohesively allow us to be one of the finest police departments in North Carolina. And it's with an extraordinary amount of pride that I formally announce to you, although I get it that you've already seen that, but publicly, this police department is incredible. So if you wouldn't mind giving a round of applause to all of the employees of the police department for receiving this particular award. And thank you for those few minutes of your time.
Thank you. At this time, the council recognizes Deputy City Clerk Beverly Smith for the Code of Ethics.
Members of council, it's my responsibility to remind you of your duty to avoid conflicts of interest in matters that are before us. At this time, I ask if there are any potential conflicts concerning tonight's agenda items.
No.
This moves us to the approval of minutes. We have minutes from May 2nd, 2016's work session and May 17th, 2016 City Council meeting. Do I hear a motion regarding the approval of minutes?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. We have an add-on item to the consent agenda, item C, staffing agreement, ARMC Physicians Care, Inc. Do I hear a motion regarding this add-on item?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor of the add-on item, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. With the add-on item, do I hear an adoption of our agenda?
Make a motion we adopt the agenda with the add-on.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed. Okay. Next is our consent agenda. These items are typically non-controversial. If anyone has any questions about the following items, please let us know. Item A, to adopt a resolution for water resources to apply for an asset inventory and asset assessment grant in the amount of $150,000 to expand and enhance our efforts on the wastewater side of operations related to asset management, criticality assessment, and consequence of failure. Item B, to approve an agreement for a grant award and impact from Impact Elements in the amount of $26,000 to fund the installation of playground equipment at the Burlington Athletic Stadium Kids Zone. Item C, to approve an agreement between the Alamance Regional Medical Center Physicians Care, Inc. and the City of Burlington to staff the city's occupational health clinic until such time as the city can hire a full-time physician, and to authorize the city manager to execute that agreement. Do I hear a motion regarding our consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? This moves us to our next section, which is our public hearing. A public hearing has been set to consider the adoption of the proposed 2016-17 fiscal year budget and the community development budget. This time, council recognizes City Manager Hardin Watkins.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Council members, I'm going to do a quick overview. You've heard this from me once before at a previous work session, but I'm going to run through a few slides with you this evening to highlight the most interesting components of the fiscal year 16-17 budget, and then we'll yield the floor back to the mayor to see if we have any public comment this evening, and then and obviously during that I'll be happy to take questions from the council as we move through that. So the important things to know about the fiscal year 16-17 budget here in the City of Burlington is there's no tax increase. The budget general fund total is $52.3 million. That represents about a 2.92% increase over last year's adopted budget. We are maintaining all services that we've previously provided, and I'm going to highlight a few additional things we'll tackle during this next fiscal year. Council members, you did receive budget books last week. Looks like this. Anybody in the public that's interested in seeing those, there's one here on file with the city clerk's office, and we'll certainly make those available if anyone would like to see that. Let me go ahead and move through the slides here. So some of the challenges this year with our budget is balancing the budget with no property tax increase while maintaining the same level of services. We feel like we're able to accomplish that. This year, we also needed to fund the city's share of public transportation, Link Transit, and council members all attended today the launch of that transit system, and we will be live with that system beginning June 6th. One of our other challenges this year was to expansion of police services. I'll provide a few more details of that in just a moment. And then we also want to fund completion of the Unified Development Ordinance, something council had previously approved and authorized us to move forward with. And those are obviously steps that continue into this fiscal year that have some expense. Budget challenges continued. There's a Director of Economic Development position that's budgeted this year. That was approved by council back on January 5th of 2016, and now the funding is being laid out to get that person on board sometime during 2016. As I mentioned, a few more details about the police positions. There are 5 new police positions, 2 sworn officers to manage training. We have 2 communication specialists for dispatch center, and we have 1 investigator that will work in the ANET team. That's actually going to be funded in our substance abuse fund instead of the general fund. Our general fund here at City of Burlington includes police, fire, recreation and parks, general administration, legal, public works, technical services, inspections, information technology, HR and health services, finance, engineering, planning, and debt service. The emphasis this year in the general fund, there's some major infrastructure and capital items. You see the largest ticket item at the top, which is a replacement of a fire ladder truck. That'll come out of capital reserves. We also have a side loader garbage truck, a rear loader garbage truck, a dump truck, a backhoe. We have 12 police fleet vehicle replacements. We're doing $900,000 worth of street paving. There's some computer hardware, a couple of roof replacements, one at Paramount and one at Maynard Aquatic Center, and then playground upgrades. The other thing that we focused on is economic development and quality of life. These numbers look familiar to you. These are similar numbers to what you've seen in the past to support some of our partner agencies that help us on the economic development front. Alamance Chamber is receive an allocation of $50,000. The Burlington Alamance Airport Authority will receive an allocation of $232,500. And then we are proposing we maintain our $75,000 to the Burlington Downtown Corporation with an additional $75,000 for their small grants program. Staff also is proposing council maintain the 16-cent property tax rate for the special tax district downtown. Any differences based on anything that changes during the year, we can take care of that at a later time. So highlights of the general fund, as I noted before, $52.3 million, about a 2.9% increase over the FY15-16 budget. We'll continue with the prior tax rate of 58 cents, $100 valuation. We'll continue our sworn police retention pay program that was approved back in January of 2009. As I mentioned, we'll have some enhanced police services. Economic development program will start up. We'll fund an increase in health insurance expenses across the city. We have a merit salary adjustment for our employees, and then, as I mentioned, the Link Transit Initiative gets started this year as well. Here's some details on the budget. As you can see, property taxes make up about 47.5% of our projected revenues, sales tax being the next largest category at about 21%. On the expenditure side, you see how that breaks down again. Police, fire, public works, recreation, all being some of our larger departments in terms of budget. This graphic shows some of that. Again, property taxes and sales taxes is where the 2 largest you're seeing, the purple category being property taxes and the aqua color being sales tax. Back on the revenue side, covered that already. On the expenditure side, you'll see this just represents that I just shared with you, police, fire, recreation, and public works being our largest slices of the pie. Next, I want to talk just a moment about our Water Resources Fund. There are 6 components of that. The Water Resources Fund, water sewer repair and construction, also the plants and facilities, laboratories, composting, customer service and billing, and then debt service are the 6 main areas. The proposed budget of water resources this fiscal year will be $29.17 million. That's a 2.83% increase. That includes a 3% increase in the water and sewer rates to offset increased demand from our capital needs. As you all know, we try to always stay ahead of our infrastructure needs of the system. and I'll detail a few of the projects that we have planned for next year. The average residential customer increase is $1.25 a month. That's someone who uses about 5,000 gallons of water and sewer. Expenditures this year, again, some of the capital items we're going to be working on, and this budget includes funding for infrastructure maintenance, primarily for the third phase of the Hall River Interceptor. That's about a $2 million project. It also funds switching the McIntosh plant from chlorine gas to bleach. We're also looking at capital requests in the department. We have funded 100% of those. We also have some engineering design work for repair to the Ed Thomas water plant. That'll include some structural repairs and roof repairs. And also, as with the other city employees, we have health insurance increases and merit salary adjustments. Our emphasis in water resources is a commitment to maintain and improve our infrastructure. We want to make sure we provide safe and clean drinking water. We want to effectively treat our wastewater. We want to promote economic development, and ultimately, we want to improve quality of life for our residents. As I said, I mentioned some of the projects. Phase 2B of the Hall River Interceptor. We also need to replace the Zimpro ash press. We'll have some inflow and infiltration reduction programs. We have a 2-inch water line replacements, some 6-inch water line replacements, 6-inch sewer line replacements. We're going to replace a jet truck, sanitary sewer TV system, and replacing a dump truck. So you see some of the ongoing capital needs that we're trying to take care of. Gives you a breakdown of our water and sewer budget for FY16-17. And again, we'll show that graphically. You see basically yellow being water bill payments and purple being the sewer bill payments. And you see how the expenditures are divided up into the various categories we mentioned a moment ago. Water and sewer rates, as you will see, for a 5,000 gallon a month customer, currently it's $1.79 a day. Average is $53.65 for a total monthly bill on both. FY16-17 with a 3% increase would put you at $1.83, and that's a $54.90 monthly bill. For someone using 2,500 gallons, you see those costs are just 2 cents more per day. Switch gears and talk about the transportation fund for a moment. As we noted, the Link Transit program starts June 6th. That's going to include $308,000 from the general fund this year. There's a one-time capital expense of $975,000, which will be used for sidewalks and shelters. Council remembers on the federal funding participation on this, we get 80% reimbursement for capital items, and we get 50% reimbursement for operations. The proposed budget for the transportation funds fiscal year is $2.486 million. Stormwater fund, we're proposing no change in the rates. The rate will be maintained at $5 per month if you approve this budget. That's about 17,500 customers, which nets out $804,000. Stormwater fund highlights: will continue to develop, implement, enforce the program to reduce the discharge of pollutants. We'll continue to map the city's storm drainage system to aid in the illicit discharge detection and elimination program. Public education outreach will continue throughout that division as well. You see a handful of other funds we have here at the city, none near as high profile as the ones we've talked about, but we'll also, this budget ordinance also sets these amounts for these various other funds: the Controlled Substance Abuse Fund, RICO, our MPO Transportation Fund, our Guilford McIntosh Fund, Municipal Service District for the Burlington Downtown Corporation, drainage improvements, rehab loan, rental rehab loan program, and CDBG. That's all I have in terms of a formal presentation. I do want to take this same opportunity to say again, which I said at our work session, that I want to thank our budget team. Peggy Reese, our finance director, does a wonderful job. She puts in hours and hours and hours, as you know, of time to get us to this point and keep us in good standing throughout the year. That makes this process very, very easy. She had a difficult task this year of also incorporating a brand new city manager to the process, and did so wonderfully with lots of grace and patience. Nolan Kirkman also joined our budget team this year and provided tremendous assistance again as I was getting oriented and learning how things work here in Burlington. I'd like to acknowledge Nolan and appreciate his involvement and help. Our finance staff does a wonderful job both with the budget process and also taking care of things so that Peggy can be dedicated to budget for several months during the year. All of our city department heads have done a wonderful job. providing lean requests, asking to cut, when we've asked them to cut things, they have delivered. When we asked them to submit lean budgets, they delivered. Always very cooperative in terms of giving information and helping us understand things as we went through each component of this budget. So it's a great team effort. As you know, we've got a wonderful team here. It's fun to be part of it. And finally, I want to thank you all for your support, for your guidance, and your confidence in us as your staff. At that point, I will take any questions, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Manager. Are there any questions from council? All right. This is a public hearing. If anyone on this side of the room would like to speak. Anyone on this side of the room would like to speak. Yeah, I don't think there's anyone downstairs. We'll give them a moment to walk up if they're.
Make a motion, we close the public hearing.
Do I have a second to close the public hearing?
Second.
All right. All those in favor of closing the public hearing, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay. Do I hear a motion regarding item 1, our city budget?
I'd make a motion that we adopt the 2016-2017 fiscal year budget ordinance and adopt the grant project ordinance for the same time period, the community development program.
Second.
Good. Any discussion related to the motion as stated by Councilmember Butler? Okay. All those in favor of adopting the 2016-17 budget ordinance as stated, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion is passed. Budget is adopted. This moves us to new business. Item 2, City Council will consider approving an interlocal agreement on tax collection between the City of Burlington and Guilford County to provide an ad valorem tax listing and collection service to the City of Burlington. At this time, Council recognizes City Attorney David Huffman.
Mayor and Council, this is actually just a renewal of the contract that we have already had with Guilford County to collect our taxes and take the lead on any sort of foreclosures that we would have on any sort of tax liens into the future. And luckily in the past, we've really not had any of those in the eastern part of Guilford County and in our city. So we would just ask that you basically re-up again with Guilford County. It's pretty good. They do a lot of work there for us, and they interact with our finance staff fairly well.
Any questions from council? Do I hear a motion regarding this agenda item?
So moved. Second.
Would that be a motion to adopt the agenda item? Just wanted to clarify. All those in favor of adopting the tax collection agreement, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion is passed. This moves us to public comment period. We have had no sign-ups for public comment, so it moves us to City Council comments. I'd like to remind everyone that our next City Council meeting will be on June 21st, 2016, 7 p.m., same place. I'd also like to thank all of our partners, city staff, community partners, the town of Gibsonville, United Way, the Hayden Harmon Foundation, and the Alamance County Commissioners for their support with Link Transit, which we cut the ribbon on today. Very exciting event out on the depot lawn, and buses start running officially Monday morning. So looking forward to that. And then we also invite folks to attend the Willow Walk this weekend at Willowbrook Park. Great opportunity to come out and see some amazing art and sculptures. Any other comments from?
I've got a couple. Run through real quick. First of all, I'd like to personally, Ryan, thank you guys. You stood up here and thanked us a bunch, but you guys run a class act, and we really appreciate the partnership from you guys as well. And, you know, the other thing, we had our police officers here this evening. I know in the Butler household, we pray for those guys every evening. The officers that we have in this community are second to none, and it's really cool to see a recognition program and see them get a chance to come out from under all the heat and all the pressure and get a few moments of just thank you and gratitude. So from my entire household, we really appreciate those individuals. Secondly, we see an impact from Impact Alamance again, which we just did the Splash Park. I think it was $26,000. Isn't that right, Tony, that we're for the playground equipment? So that's pretty phenomenal that relationship is continuing to grow, and we can see the benefits of that throughout the city. And then as we look at budget period, this thing comes to a close. It's pretty phenomenal. We're approaching 10 years with no tax increase and providing as quality a service as I think any municipality can provide. And we are a full-service city, and then some. We do a phenomenal job as an organization. Our leadership team does a great job, and then all through the ranks throughout our entire organization, a budget is not done by one or two people. It's done by everybody. And we've been very fortunate that everyone understands fiscal responsibility, and we've been blessed with economic development, and we've had the foresight when we saw something looming, we knew to tighten our belts. And to sit here and say we actually had one tax decrease during that period of time, and now we've got buses running, and we're still doing it. Which brings me to that point. 9 years and 3 months, CeeLo, we worked on the bus system. 9 years and 3 months. I looked back at my very first note.
That's why I don't have hair now.
So I don't want to labor the subject, but it's pretty phenomenal evening for us, and I just wanted to share those comments and thank everybody on city staff as well.
Any other council comments?
I have a couple, Mayor. First one is on the light side. The council has been known to dress casual through June, July, and August, so we asked the council that we can continue that tradition here during the summer months. And on a more serious note, I guess I'm going to get on my soapbox now to say a few things about communities here in Burlington. It grieves me dearly to see the amount of violence that's going on in our communities. There's a shooting here, there's a shooting in this house, there's a shooting in that house, there's been a murder in the city. And I'm calling on the citizens of Burlington from my heart. Just come forward. We have a wonderful police department. So come forward and help these guys out. Don't say I didn't see anything, because I know there's somebody in that community that saw what happened. We can't do away with the violence unless the neighborhoods come up and help us. The city council can't do it. The neighbors in your community are the ones going to help our police department solve these issues. So I'm asking all the citizens of Burlington and every community in the city, when there's things happening in your community, call the police department or call a Crime Stoppers line. We need your help. We can't solve it on our own. So if you're out there and you see the crime happening, please call somebody, because we can't stop this unless you help us out. And I'm going to ask the chief and the district attorney and the judges, if you get caught, to nail you to the wall. Nail you to the wall. Don't give you any leniency. Shooting somebody's house is a serious crime. Killing a person is a serious crime. So I ask the community again, please step forward to help us out, to solve some of these crimes that are happening in our city. I lived here just about all my life, and I have never seen anything happen like this. The crime that goes up and down Interstate 85, you ain't going to stop in Burlington no more. I can tell you that, or Alamance County. We got a police department, a sheriff department that's going to put an end to this. So if you're one of those out there committing these crimes, beware. Leave Burlington. Leave Alamance County, because we're going to get you. Unless the chief wants to put me on the force, and he doesn't want to do that. But anyway, get off my soapbox. Please help us out here. Make your city safe. Make your city one of the livable cities in this county. If you do that, we'll be better off. We'll be a better generation for our kids, for our grandkids, to know that we live in a safe haven here. And without your help, we can't do that. So I implore the citizens of Burlington, come forward when you see crimes happening in our community. And I'll step down off my soapbox now. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember. All right, thank you, everyone. Any other comments, Manager?
Council members, as a follow-up to last night's conversation with Mr. Bennett Harris, representing Steam Junction and the Alamance Makers Guild, he did follow up with a letter as we asked last night, and has indicated that, again, a commitment statement needs to be posted by midnight tonight. Ultimately, he's asking, so as he asked, he put some things in writing for us. Ultimately, he's asking that the city assist with promotion and production of and take part as participants in a 2016 Alamance County Roundtable event to be held in either late summer or fall of 2016, prior to start of the school year somewhere in the city. Specifically, what he has asked is that the city's role would be as follows, and I want to get council guidance if you feel comfortable with me responding. Ultimately, he's asking the city help create a list of potential attendees, and then the city act as an inviting agency, and it indicates through social media and or email that we provide an event venue. I think Mr. Laws has suggested Coronado Senior Center. That he asked for permission for some city staff and employees to attend the event as an educational opportunity, those who would be relevant for them to attend the event, and also asked that perhaps someone from city staff help record the event with a video, and then they would obviously take it from that point and do any editing, but someone just to staff a camera during the event. From my conversations with Ms. Rachel Kelly, who serves as our Makers Liaison, those are things that her department would do most of those things, and she's equipped to do so if council so inclined. Mr. Laws, as you know, last evening said he could find the senior center, or if not, some other equivalent facility if council so inclined. So I throw that on the table for council consideration, and if council is so inclined, I'll be happy to respond to Mr. Harris at the conclusion of tonight's meeting with some direction.
Council, does that sound like a reasonable request? Any questions regarding the request?
Martin, let me ask you this. I mean, is it, has the deadline already come and gone with respect to this, and we're approving something after it's turned into a pumpkin?
Mr. Harris's email indicates the White House's timetable indicates you must provide a commitment statement to the White House website by 11:59 on Tuesday, June 2nd.
Thursday, June 2nd. So tonight.
Tonight at midnight.
Okay, so, well, I'll weigh in on it. I think it's a reasonable request, but I would suggest and ask that as we proceed, just sort of, look and see what kind of financial commitment there would be, on the city, because, ultimately winds up here, as far as making any financial commitments. And we'll have to look to Rachel too, because does this take a pretty good chunk of your time? Is it? It's okay. In other words, but at some point, I can see it taking more and more time. You know what I mean? And however y'all work out, it'll be entirely up to you and the manager. But certainly. I think it's a reasonable request. I have no problems with it, but periodically go to look at it, and if it grows and develops into something that's going to be more of a financial commitment on the part of the city, I think it's incumbent upon this council to take a look at it. That's pretty much where I am.
I would agree with the scope and purpose of what we asked for in writing and what we've got. I do believe it gets a little murky with regards to, and that was my concern last night. We don't want to overtax staff to support something that is not a city-driven service. We're a service provider for city-driven services. And when you volunteer to assist with something, the boundaries get a little gray. So I would seriously oppose any breach of boundary beyond what scope and purpose is on this document, and any financial commitment that comes up, if it's going to be monetary, I think we need to take action at council.
Okay. Councilmember Fawcett.
Excuse me. I agree with what the council members have said. It was my concern is how much the city was said to be responsible for this financially. I still have some concerns, but I'll go along with it.
All right.
Mayor, I'd like to make one comment. I think it's already been said this evening, but I'd like to weigh in on, the item of the budget. it's nothing short of remarkable keeping the tax rate a number of years, as Councilmember Butler stated that we have. And we've been through some hard, difficult times. And I've been on the inside, and I'm in a little different role. It's not altogether easy. Staff really has to work together, pull together, and I would compare our city staff with any, city staff of any employees in the state of North Carolina. We're indeed blessed and fortunate to have the staff we do. They pull together, they work together, they help us. They really do. In other words, it's maybe I shouldn't say this, but it makes budget pretty easy with the people we have that have the responsibility that they do to present something to the manager and to us that we can feel comfortable in adopting it. And it'd be hard to complain with keeping the tax rate as we have and still maintaining the service levels that we do, which is second to none. So I know I'm repeating some of the things said earlier, but I feel like I need to say that and just add my thanks. And thank all of you again. I certainly appreciate it.
Thank you. Any further comments? Manager Watkins, was that satisfactory discussion on the maker?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Hearing no further discussion, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Meeting is opposed.